Hello, science class. Today I'm going to be talking about the Chapter 10 study guide and helpful hints on how to create a better study guide. First things first is I've been asked to do a little bit more detail and a little bit more teaching through these study guides, so this will be a little bit longer, a little bit more detailed oriented on some of the key points, and I'm going to go over more of the points as I go. So if you need to skip ahead, pause it, write down your own notes, use it how you will. First things first, I want to draw your attention to the content. With any study sheet, we should be starting here and looking at the notes I've placed online. The notes that I have are all notes that I would have used in class. However, you have to remember these notes, I would have been teaching them. So I would have been talking and adding things just like I am now. So I'm going to go over some of those details. But as you can see, we're only focusing on chapter 10 right now because hopefully we've done chapters 8 and 9 as well. So as you see here, we're assessing nutrients and we're talking about nutrition. And right away, I give a very high quality definition that is hopefully very easy to understand. We're avoiding just Googling nutrition and definition because that will be too much information. But then I highlight some key points about what are good ideas around nutrition. Next one, malnutrition. What is the missing? What is the details around that? And then you can see nutrients required by the body. And I'm going to talk about all the main points, all the details that you need for your body's nutrition. And so we need to be focusing on things like carbohydrates or just carbs that people call them. What are they? We have to know that carbs are simply just these sugars or starches, and that's our primary energy source. Next on your study guide, you should have, okay, next nutrient is protein. And so as I'm going through this, proteins, I'm like, okay, this is builds body tissues, it regulates chemical activities in our body. And when we don't have enough carbs in our diet, we don't need enough sugars or those starches like breads and pastas, the next thing our body will burn is protein. And so we get this from meats and eggs. So as I'm doing this, I flip to my study sheet. I should be writing out all these details of main nutrients. Okay. Then I go to my first point and I'll write down carbohydrates. And I will give my definition of what they are. So we define it. Next, I'll include protein and I'll give my definition. Okay. The other important part that we see with these, have a definition, but also provide examples. You will see in your chapter 10 assignment, it's going to ask you what food is an example of this, or when I look at a stick of butter, what food group is it primarily focused on? Or when I talk about like an egg or peanut butter, what main food group is it going to be classified under? And so every time we go through these notes, flip back, we'll see that. So here you see eggs, meat, and peanut butter, and then fats like cheese or milk or butters. And we have these fats, and we can have good fats and bad fats, right? We can have the good fats that are for us, like plant based fats, so olive oil or canola oil or avocado. And there's lots of things about coconut oil. All these plant fats are very good for us. They're called unsaturated fats, where we have saturated fats, which are bad for us. These are the ones that are coming from animals. Then we also have vitamins. And these are kind of the vital, like vitamins, the vital minerals or the little vital pieces of building blocks that we need in our body to help carry out life functions. And so different things like vitamin C help prevent something called scurvy. And this is what people used to get way, way back when. And it looked like they had sunken in eyes, pale skin, loss of teeth, but they just needed to mix in some vitamin C with their diet. But hard to do when you're sailing on an ocean 200 years ago and you don't have fresh fruit. And then other minerals, so like iron or calcium, so they're not classified as a vitamin, like vitamin A, vitamin B, vitamin C. They'll just be iron and calcium and different things like that. These are other minerals that help carry out life functions or structural components of our body. Lastly is water. We of course need water, and so we have six big things, and water being the last one. It helps kind of have everything move through our whole body, and it creates a balance within our body so we can have all these other nutrients in our body. As we are going through this, have this key terms here as like our highlighted big box right at the top, biggest word up there, but then main nutrients is going to be the next one. And we would have all six listed. And so we go fats. I'll make it look all the same. Helpful for that. Fats have that definition. Vitamins have that definition. We have minerals. And then we have water. And so we list out all six and we are able to provide examples for all of them. So that's the very first thing we should be doing. Next, when we jump back to here and we want to analyze diets, we're going to actually look at the food we should be having within ourselves and what exactly is a diet. Well, don't think of diet as just people going on a diet and they're trying to lose weight. Diet just is talking about the type of food that you eat. So a diet is what do you eat? Whether you're trying to restrict things, and that's what people think diets are, is it's just a restrictive thing. But no, a diet is simply just whatever we are eating. So don't think of it as restrictive. It's just whatever food. And that's what we see here. It's actually the amount of food we eat every day. And that's what we see here every day. Okay. The thing is now people will go on these kind of crazy diets where it's a keto diet where they're only eating high protein, high fat diets, or they'll go on an Atkins diet kind of thing. They have these different fads. Okay. Big thing with our diet is big promotion is follow Canada's food guide. Google search this image and you'll see how they've simplified it. So I'm going to go do that right now. Canada's food guide. And when you see it, they've updated the images and they've updated what exactly Canada's food guide looks like. So I can go Canada's food guide, and you should be able to study and know the key components of how to actually create a balanced diet. And so that's what we see here. We see the details of, oh, what a plate should actually look like. And here you see fruits and vegetables to get vitamins, minerals. Eat proteins. That's what we need. I'll go back to page 1. And then you choose whole grains. So here's carbs, here's proteins, here's healthy fats, healthy vitamins, healthy minerals, all included in here. That should be a big part of your diet. Okay. The troubling part is when I jump back to our course notes, is when we have all these little diets, people go too far. I'm going to come back to food labeling. And you see there is a vegetarian diet. So for proteins, they can still get proteins. And when I go back to Canada's food guide, protein doesn't just have to be meat. It can be beans. It can be nuts up there. You can have tofu. And you can have, depending on the type of vegetarian, you could have milk, cheeses, or eggs as types of protein. Okay. You can have vegan where you're taking out every animal one. You can have the Atkins diet or South Beach diet or these fad diets or whatever's kind of in the media, whatever the Kardashians seem to be doing as a diet. That's a fad. Is they come, they go, then they die out. So, and I'm said I was going to come back to food labeling. So now we know about diets, and then here food labeling. There's a great practice in the science chapter 10 one about how to actually properly read a food label because every product in Canada, whether it's from the water bottle to a bag of chips to things you'll buy as a cereal in the grocery store, will have a food label telling you the nutritional content or the nutritional details of the food and what it contains and where does it break down on those six essential nutrients. So, like I said, my notes are pretty quick, pretty short, but we need to expand on what of all these details. The details you're going to get that from are right here in the textbook. So you need to pair it up with the textbook when you are looking through my notes and trying to create a study guide. And so my first one was okay, let's talk about assessing nutrients. And so, what is nutrition and nutrients? What is malnutrition? So I have those definitions. We should include those as well. What nutrients do we need? Here we see the six I've highlighted, and we see the six things I've highlighted for them. Oh, I've already gone through my notes and I can make sure I know all of these. Perfect. I've done those for my study sheet. Here are all my examples of carbs, proteins, fats, vitamins, minerals. And then, of course, well, water is its own example. Okay, it's a big part that we need to know. And what do they actually do? I'll go past this. I took out questions like this. This is tests for different nutrients, but we weren't able to do that in the lab, unfortunately. It's a fun lab. But analyzing diets, if you're not sure about what diets are, they give more examples. And now make sure we go through the new Canadian food guide because here, this food guide will be the old Canadian food guide. Make sure we're balancing it with the new Canadian food guide. But really, it follows down to this. If you wanted to take this picture and put this right into your notes and say, oh, I want this and I want to clip it and take it and add it to my notes about, okay, here, good thing here. I'll add it, paste, not working. Okay, but you can paste those five. I had them listed in my notes, but you can take those 5 points and you can make sure that you actually copy them down as well. And when you like have it, I'll try one more time. Here's these 5 points about Canada's food guide. Capture that. Let's see if it'll work this time. No, but add them to your study sheet. Sometimes it's easier to handwrite. Like I said, we're having issues. So we do that. Food labeling. Like I said, there's a good practice question on the assignment that you can practice with reading through these instructions on how to read through some of these details. Okay. And then it gives a little bit more details in case you're not sure about what these diets are or what a fad diet is, you can read through some of those details. Okay. Lastly, I'm going to add my notes about how do we digest food. And we kind of already talked about this in chapter 9 about digestion and how do we break down things. But there's three ways. We have mechanical digestion, chemical digestion, and then absorption, how we actually absorb food into our bodies. And so they happen at key parts, whether it's our mouth, our stomach, our small intestines or our large intestines. We would have had questions from chapter 9, so we're kind of building off of those organ systems from chapter 9. We're building on them here, so might have to draw back on your chapter 9 notes as well. So finally, we analyze our diet. We would have done an assignment where we have to kind of make our own diet, but you should be able to answer some of these questions and what happens with them. Because I think in the assignment, or whether it's the final exam, you'll have to answer some questions very similar to like what happens in your body when you skip breakfast, or how does a healthy, balanced diet help you maintain your nutritional needs. You need to be familiar enough to talk about what would be good for you to eat, what would be bad for you, or some of the concerns for you. Then, as always, here we can see all these key terms. We would have gone through them. I've talked mostly about them. Include them all in your study guide. Okay? And once your study guide is complete, once your assignment is complete, go through these review and these understanding key ideas. You should have no problem thinking to yourself, what is good nutrition? It's following Canada's food guide. It's getting the proper amount of nutrients your body needs to actually live and survive. What is malnutrition? Well, that's not getting the essential nutrients you need. It doesn't just mean you don't have enough food, it could be meaning you are eating too many fats and you're not getting enough vitamins, like, and you get something like scurvy, You have food, but you're not getting the proper food. And so you don't eat enough vitamins or you don't have any kind of fruits and vegetables that have vitamin C in it. You can be malnourished because you're not eating the proper vitamins. So go through that. We should be able to answer all these questions as we go through. We should be able to include all these details in our study sheet. So please, as we go through it, ask questions if you need to. Practice the assignment. Remember, it's repeatable. And good luck with all of that. Take care and good luck with the test on Friday, or at least it's opening up on Friday. It'll be open Friday and Monday. Bye, everyone.